Hello everybody, my name's Karamanika, and welcome back to the unboxing, where today, we're looking back a little bit, real quick. Not necessarily. Whatever. We've been on a bit of a Marvel kick these past couple of Fridays. We looked at Deadpool, we looked at Wolverine, both from a movie I don't like. So now it's time to look at a movie I do like, and I've been willing to actually collect a decent amount of figures for. Because today we are continuing the Across the Spider-Verse SH Figuarts line with the next Spider-Man. Paviter Prabhakar. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Spider-Man India. He's a fun character. Not necessarily my favorite Spider-Man. I like him. Don't get me wrong. But like he's just not in enough of the movie for him to be like favorite tier. But he's very, very good. He's very fun. He's got a really, really cool character design. So today we're taking a look at a figure of him. So first off, something you will note. It is in the premium Bandai style shipper, this kind of generic brown box. We got the barcode here, name the figure, SH Figuarts Tamashii Web. That seems to be the case mainly in Japan. In America, this goes for basic price at normal retail. Sometimes normal retail figures in America are P Bandai in Japan. Well, it's more that P Bandai in Japan can become normal retail in America if they are more popular in America. Like this is a popular American property. It's Spider-Man, so they're allowing it to be retail. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to order it. It shouldn't be too difficult. But again, normal brown shipper. All the other sides are just generic. This side has the name of the figure in Japanese as well as another barcode. Nothing too crazy, just a generic shipper. What we are really in for is on the inside of the package. So without further ado, let's get out of the shipper. Why don't we? I know how to get things out of the shipper. I just thought that would be funny. Anywho, let's squeeze out Paviter, and again, it looks very nice. Interestingly thick of a box. I figured out why. I've done a little bit of extra research, but this package is interestingly thick for what it is. Anyways, though, here we have the SH Figuarts Paviter Spider-Man India, whatever, in the flesh. As you can tell, it looks very nice. Very similar to the previous packages for the Spider-Verse line, where we've got the window package, which allows us a nice look in on the figure and a bunch of his accessories. We can see his unmasked head, which is one of the best. The printed on here, we have the SH Figuarts, the name of the figure, Spider-Man India, the SH Figuarts quote, you know how it is. Then we have some nice promotional art of the figure, of the character. I imagine it's from like some sort of concept art stage, whatever, I don't know. Tamashii seal quality, the Tamashii Web logo, because this is a P Bandai item, Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, Marvel, Tamashii Nations Bandai, and the background is this very nice teal, which is unique to him, which sets him in the world of Mumbhattan, I believe it was called. His universe, you know how it goes. Anywho, on the top we have the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse logo, nice and embossed. Spider-Man India, you can see a little bit of some of the back art peeking through, which is very fun, and a little bit more of the window, so you can look from the top, I guess. On the bottom, you got the sticker, as well as another image of Paviter, this time with his unmasked head on. You can see the name of the figure is kind of hidden back there. On this side, the art continues, and we got a upper torso look of the figure, as well as the name of the figure right there. On this side, we got another nice action pose of the figure, name of the figure right there. On the back, we get a lot of nice promotional images, him using his web in a couple different poses. It promotes using the Tamashii stage. I have a stand, but it doesn't come with a stand, which is a bit unfortunate, but whatever. The main pose, him flying through the air, him in a couple more casual looks, which fits him nicely, as well as the usual legal information. This is for adults, as you can tell. So let's get this figure cracked open. It cracks open from the side, as is to be expected. Ooh, I feel paper instructions back there. That's interesting. Anywho, let's slide this figure open. Now, this figure comes with 2 layers. This, which we'll get to, but here we have a bunch of webbing accessories, which I guess we shall crack open. If you don't mind. Does it take a second? Oh, it's got tape. That's why it's not opening. Sorry, I am a little stupid. Anyhow, I'll just do the one side because it's not on the bottom. Yeah, those webs are in there a little bit loosely. These are pre-posed webs, it looks like, primarily for him. You can see there's a port for the bangle yo-yo thing. Yeah, these are pre-posed ones, which pairs interestingly with this one, which we will get to, which I'll have to test. I don't know exactly if that's bendy wire or not. We shall see. First, we have this one with a slight bend in it, though the bend's closer to here. Still nice and long, double hooked. This one's very complex. A very complex angled look, which I guess is for cool action poses, and the thing goes here. Here we have a more generic web where you just put it in his hand and he's able to just kind of swing around. And finally, this one's for cool yo-yo tricks. Yeah, I guess this is how you do it. Anywho, those are some basic webs. They're nice. It's nice to get more webbing, and I imagine if you just ignore the peg at the front, you can use them for any of your Spider-Men, and it gives some nice new webbing poses that are going to be fun to mess around with any of your spider people. However, though, it's time to crack into the main box, which shows a bunch of different options. Anywho, lots of hands, which is always appreciated, especially given the price of these Spider-Man Figuarts. These are some of the more pricey options, I presume because of the licensing cost. Anywho, let's begin with what appear to be some flat palm hands. We'll go through the hands first. Yeah, some nice flattened palm hands with the thumbs going downward. These are very nicely painted and sculpted. The paint is pristine, that nice purple. Cuts off very cleanly. He's got these spirals in the center of his hand that are also done very nicely and picked out nicely. And this side has even more precise picked out detail, which is always appreciated, especially on Spider-Man figures. They gotta have that precise, like, web-esque detail. And even when they don't have webbing detail, they often have some other bit of precise detailing that you have to worry about. Now, over here, we have a fairly standard Spider-Man accessory, though it's always appreciated when it does come on a Spider-Man figure, Marvel Legends, is some wall crawler style hands, just some open hands, but they're wall crawling hands essentially, and they look very nice as well. Once again, have that same level of detail and are posed very nicely. Moving on to this side, some of the more basic hands we got. Ooh, these are fists that are also meant for holding webs. You can see there's a tiny little hole. It's a bit easier to see on this one, but you can see there's just a tiny little hole that's meant perfectly for holding onto webs. Then also, I imagine these are also web holding hands, though are a lot more meant for like swinging. I imagine they are web holding hands with thumbs up. These are just fun to use, especially since the hole is so unobtrusive. You can see it's very tiny. You can just go like, yeah, that's always fun. Anywho, we have even more flat palm hands, which I guess we're just skipping ahead to because I'm weird. However, the thumb is a bit higher up, even more flat hands, which are nice and appreciated. I'm sure these will make good use. Look, this figure's got a ton of options and it's great. And, ooh, pointy finger hands. Ooh, always fun when the Spider-Man comes with one of those. I imagine these are for some more specific poses, but, you know, it's always fun when the Spider-Man points, memes or whatever. Next up this is for when he's using the bangle as more of a yo-yo. This is a replacement lower arm. You take off the lower arm, probably replace it with this. This is nice. It's, once again, this is a very nice gradient, if you can't tell, going from the purple to the red. It's a very nice red that fits him very well. But yeah, it works very well. Some nice subtle detailing in the webbing. Yeah, it's always nice to have that to allow for poses to be more accurate. Next accessory, though. Okay, it's not bendy wire, which is a bit disappointing. I would have loved some bendy wire webs, but this is some interesting, like, springy web. I might want to heat it up so that I can make this spring a bit larger. But this is nice. Once again, more webbing options is always appreciated, and I'm sure normal Spider-Men can just use this if they need to. Though this is very much specifically for him and his play pattern, which we can get to now. The bangle, oddly enough, is split into two parts so that it can look like it's arcing off of the webs. They can't come together, unfortunately, but I imagine... no. It's a bit unfortunate that you don't just get it on its own, but it's going to be on the web most of the time anyway, so it's not too bad, but it does look nice. Let's see. I've seen some people talk about having problems with this. Let's see how it goes on... Okay, it's a bit awkward because it's a small peg and a small hole, and pegs and holes don't like going in each other. Scratch that quote from the record. Okay, yeah, I see how, because it's a small, it's a tight fit. Yeah, it's a tight fit, unfortunately. It's having a hard time going in. But, this is something it's something I gotta do off camera. It's a bit unfortunate that, like, it doesn't peg in some other way, but I get why it's done like that. Next up are some more fun options. Something that was missing from, I think, the past couple of Spider-Verse figures, unfortunately, but are thankfully here thanks to the design. Swappable eyes. These ones are a much tighter look. And you can see they're painted so fucking well. They got such a nice design that is so good looking. But yeah, you can see how the design looks. Much tighter, but like giving like a happy expression, kind of, which again fits the kind of more chill, lackadaisical attitude of Paviter. I always love eye options. It really helps to add expressiveness to Spider-Man figures and other figures like it, like we saw in the Deadpool a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it looks very nice. Next up, though, final option part, before we get to the figure itself. This is one of the best head sculpts I've fucking seen in this line. It looks so good. It's perfect. This is very much how he looks in the film. This is a perfect head sculpt. Like, seriously, I am astonished by how good this looks. It like captures his look perfectly. It's not an awkward expression. It's the right skin tone. It's perfect. This is just a perfect capturing of. It's on the level of Miles and Gwen, possibly even surpassing those. It's such a good head sculpt, guys. Anyways, let's get on to the figure itself. He's a good size. He obviously is a teenager, so he's a bit on the smaller end, but like he's a good size. Here he is with like a Kamen Rider. He's a fairly large figure, not like crazy big, but he's nice and sizable. Anywho, let's get him into a proper standing pose. It might be a little awkward because he has bare feet, and those have like less shape, proper foot shape. It's less flat on the foot, which makes it a bit harder to stand. Anyways, let's get these plastic bits out of him. Oh, that came off first, huh? You do have to get the neck out if... that's a tight neck. If you want to swap the heads, let me do the stuff screen real quick. Come on. I'm having a bit of trouble getting this plastic out. Come on. Very tightly in there. I'll get the lower one out while we're here, because that's far easier. There we go. I got it out. There we go. And it's a lot easier to get out once the plastic is gone. Let's get right back on there. I imagine it's better to pull from the base of the neck, because that is a fairly tight ball joint down there. But it does end up getting there fairly nicely. This is a floating part, so be careful not to let it ride too high, but that's going to help it get out of the way when you're doing Spider-Man poses. He is using the Spider-Man SHF hips, these like butt flaps essentially. I know some people don't really like it, but it's both hidden a lot thanks to the sash, and also thanks to just the blue being very homogeneous. Okay, my knees work. I saw someone who had some trouble with theirs knees. Ooh, this is very soft. I'm a bit scared to tear it, but very, very soft plastic. Doesn't get in the way at all, which has been a problem with some SH Figuarts figures. And action figures in general, in order to get a nice sculpted look, they tend to have thicker plastic, but this is very thin. I'm a bit worried about bending it. Anywho, let's take a look, and there's such an... It's again, very nice. It has those subtleties that, like, you wouldn't necessarily expect, that you don't necessarily think about, I guess, would be the term, and, like, you see something like the Marvel Legends, and you think that's fine, and it is fine, especially for the price. But, God, just such nice little subtle details. The webbing being picked out. I imagine the process was they painted the base of the head and then went over the little sections in the darker red, but it comes across perfectly. And I imagine to get to the eyes, you got to take the hair off, but I'm not going to do that right now. But yeah, it covers up one eye nice and perfectly. I imagine it's just the same sculpt as this. Or at least probably similar CAD models or whatever. But again, it looks so good. The hair is sculpted so nicely, and like the face as well. It's just got that. It's just perfect. It is perfectly the in-series model. Anyways, here's the torso. It looks a little soft on the detailing, but it captures the look nice and well. The gold lining all over the figure is very pretty. Again, the Indian-inspired look of this character is top-notch. It's very pretty, very nice and detailed, and it just looks great. And like all the details are so nicely picked out. It's such a detailed suit, and like you can see just all these details are so nice. Tad fuzzy, but like overall very well picked out. Nothing literally splotches too much. Like you can especially see it with the spider logo on the torso. It's so many layers of different styles and colors of paint. Like you got the two-tone flat colors of the torso, which might even just be plastic, and then you've got the gold outline, and then you got the pearlescent like inner color. It is so nice. The legs are a good bit simpler. You can see, but like that's not to say they're bad. They are very nice. This is probably how I imagine a lot of people kind of wish Luffy went about his legs. Just had like a little divot in here so that it can just go, and then have a thigh cut up here. But whatever, I don't mind how Luffy works right now. And again, very nicely painted. There's a little bit of scuffage on mine, but I'll live. Again, the feet, very nicely detailed. Not to harp too much on the open-toed look, but it is, again, very nicely done. So many different colors and tones, and I gotta bring up the gold on all these bangles. It's such a nice gold fleck. Like, you can see it on the arms. Once again, the transition from purple to red is still there, and then the nice detailing with the dark red, but God, that gold is so pretty. Like, it's such a nice gold. Anywho, let's take a look at his articulation, because you gotta have a well-articulated Spider-Man. Let's go. Neck. This is on a ball joint. Can't really look down with this joint. You can with that. But it does look up a whole lot. Great for Spider-Man poses, and then the lower joint is what's going to get you your look down, which I don't mind too much. But it won't really get you the look up, but this joint gets you the look up, and they work in tandem. And of course, you're able to get a good amount of tilt, which is nice given how expressive of a character he is. Anywho, let's start with the shoulders, I guess, since that's the next bit down. They have butterflies, which get nice, deep cuts. Very good, very good, very good. Hell yeah. Slightly exposed shoulder joints, but that allows them to get out. Fairly basic look, though they are on that nice double ball joint. Able to go all the way around. Bicep cut, very well hidden. It's like very well hidden because it's just at the bangle. Perfect opportunity, great use on Bandai's part Double jointed elbows. Mine's a bit tight, but it is able to get all the way. This one's a lot less tight. Something I've been noticing QC wise, I saw some other videos like this. Some of the double joints seem to be getting a bit tighter on some people. For mine, it's this one. It works fine, but feels a bit tight. Yeah, that's a bit tight is cutting it nicely. So be careful with yours. Maybe get some hot water for it. And the hands are your usual ball pegs, but there is a lot of space for them. Torso, upper joint. On a ball joint, able to arch back a little bit, arch forward a good bit. Could be better. Gives a little bit of crunch. Let's look at the lower joint, though, because I think that's going to be where we get articulation. Able to arch back. Fair bit with both joints, and of course you're able to use the legs, which are able to go back even further because of the butt flap. Forward. Pretty dang good. I've seen better, but this is more than enough. This is a good range, and it feels like a nice natural curve. It's more than enough. Anywho, legs. They feel a bit loose out of the package, but basic Spider-Man style joint, able to kick forward that far, able to kick back nice and far as well, because you gotta have a Spider-Man that can do that. Able to kick out. I think it's like a basic peg. Does feel a bit loose, but I imagine that can be tightened. Thigh swivel, pretty basic. We've gone over the double jointed knee so far, but it is a double jointed knee. Feet, able to tilt forward a decent amount, back a decent amount, and this is going to have a nice tilt. Oh yeah, infinite tilt, essentially, which is great to see, and a toe bend. Feels a bit loose. But yeah, if I was to make any complaint, is some of the QC on the figure itself feels a bit awkward, especially given the price. But it's still able to work fairly nicely for Paviter here. I imagine not everyone's going to be going on this figure. Not everyone's going to be Spider-Verse completionist-y, which I have kind of been becoming, unfortunately, given the prices of these figures. But it is still a nice, solid, strong figure in the SH Figuarts across the Spider-Verse line, as this line has continued to just be out of the park, and there's more releases coming this year. There's Peter B, there's Spider-Man Noir, who I haven't pre-ordered yet, but I'll get around to it eventually when I'm more sure of my budget. But yeah, these figures have been outstanding. But what do you think? What do you think of these figures? Let me know in the comments below what you thought of these figures, what you think of the movie, what you think of this character in specific. And yeah, don't forget to do all the other usual YouTube stuff. I appreciate likes, comments, even subscriptions if you enjoy this kind of content. I've got more stuff planned in the pipeline, some figures that I recently unboxed, even though you haven't seen the video yet. Might be getting some videos soon if I feel up to it. But until next time, I will see you eventually. I'll see you around. Yeah. Bye-bye.